Welcome to the Ladies of Kiki panel presented by Melanated Movement. We have our two lovely ladies here right now. But before we dive into our panelists for tonight, I just want to get into what Melanated Movement is about. Melanated Movement engagement initiative centers stigma reduction, storytelling, prevention, and care for Black women of all experiences impacted by HIV. They are committed to empowering Black women through education, open dialogue, and strategic investments, ensuring that their voices and experiences are valued. So let's jump into it. Thank you, Melanated Movement. Thank you, Age United, for allowing us to be here tonight. And I have my two panelists. We have our amazing mothers, Atlanta mother Yoko Louboutin and West Coast mother Hazel Louboutin. So, ladies, let's introduce yourselves. Let's talk about, obviously they know your name, but let's talk about what you walk, how long you've been in Ballroom, how long you've been a mother.
You want me to go first?
Okay. Okay, you can go ahead, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay. I'm the Atlanta mother of the House of Louboutin. I walk face and sex appeal. And I'm dibbling and dabbling in best dress. I just won $700, I believe, in a best dress category. So that was really fun. And I've been walking for about, I think, it's about to be 3 years. November makes 3 years. So I've been walking for 3 years, and I've been mother for a couple of months. So it's also new to me. I'm excited to be here.
Welcome to motherhood. Hazel.
Yes. Well, welcome, and thank you, sis, for that. I'm West Coast mother, Hazel Louboutin. So right now, I walk Femme Queen Performance, highest paid girl snatching the coin all the time. That's my thing. I also walk face. I'm a 1K face girl, along with my 1K face girls on the panel, honey. You know how we give it up. I've been in Ballroom for 4 years. Going on 5. Next year in September, it'll be my official 5th year. I'm up and coming legend. And I've been a mother for 3 years out of the 4 that I've been in Ballroom. Mm-hmm. No shade. They thought that it was ready for me, honey. I guess I showed them something.
Wow. Well, ladies, so picking up on how long y'all have been in Ballroom and been mothers. I know you've been mother for a few months, and I know you, Hazel, have been mother for a few years. So my question to you what were your expectations when entering, and we can kind of do this both ways. We can say entering Ballroom and or entering motherhood, and what has been like a reality check or wake up call. And I think it's good to often like have these self-evaluations of like, wait, I had this expectation in this moment, and then years down the line, because it teaches you something in that moment to like maybe change or do differently as you continue throughout your mothering journey. So what has been something you expected out of Ballroom or that you would get from Ballroom and or motherhood, but it's been completely different than what you've experienced or what you thought you would experience?
You want me to go?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. So when I first entered the Ballroom scene, so I have to start off where I was introduced to it. Mm-hmm. I saw it on TV. Mm-hmm. I saw Legendary. So that was my interpretation of what Ballroom was. And so then I started to do some research. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so much fun. Like, these people are really having fun, and they look like they love each other, and they just are embracing themselves, embracing being different, coming in different shapes, shades, sizes, colors, all these things. And so I was just like, oh, this is a space where you can be celebrated no matter who you are, right? I'm not saying that it's not, right? But when I entered this space, I saw how politics can come into play, how sometimes competition can get a little nasty. So I saw the ugly too. Mm-hmm. But in the grand scheme of things, I think for the most part, Ballroom definitely does uplift one another in the grand scheme of things. And competition is competition. But yeah. That was my expectation for Ballroom. And you want me to get into being a mother? I thought it was going to be glitz and glam. I thought I was going to get the princess treatment. And I am getting the princess treatment, don't get me wrong. But it's a really big responsibility because we really have to. Now, the challenge that I'm facing is having to not just worry about the people that walk my categories that I can relate to, but I'm learning about all categories in every last one of them. So I think that's the most challenging part for me, not being so like caught up in my own process of getting dressed or getting ready for a ball. I really have to like depend on others depend on me. So yeah, that's the challenging part. So yeah, I'm just trying to balance it all.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Hazel.
Okay, so I kind of started just like Yoko, right? I was watching Legendary. I seen Calypso and them Balmain's season 1. And I also, before I like left Georgia, because I'm originally from Georgia, before I left, I was getting into like Ballroom on YouTube. And like she said, I was doing my research. I was watching Paris is Burning. I watched My House. I watched like all the little side quest things, just trying to learn things before I actually stepped into the scene. And like she said, when I seen everything, I thought this was a space where everybody, loved each other. Oh, girl, this is where we be free. We come here, we have fun. It's no drama. It's no beef. And baby, the reality of that was that there is, however, all of the things, honey. So I think my expectation was coming in thinking that everything, like she said, really was going to be peaches and cream. And just a space where we was just gonna all get along. It wasn't nothing much, but like she said, the competitiveness of Ballroom gets in the way of a lot. People in their like having their personal vendettas, and people wanting to do favors for their homegirls, and the girlfriend panel. It's just so much that can kind of suck the fun out of it. But overall, like Ballroom is a fun space. I still enjoy myself when I can. I still have fun. I'm not always having a bad time, but it's just really realizing that reality, that it's not just what I actually thought it was, can be very disappointing, but I'm learning how to, maneuver through. And being a mother, I think my biggest expectation, I'm not gonna lie to you, I already was scared of being a mother because my mother Calypso and like everybody would hint at me like, oh my God, you're so mature, girl. I think you're gonna be a mother one day. And I was giving, girl, I don't want to keep. I just got here. I'm trying to make my own way, girl. I'm trying to be Samaya and Saucy. I'm trying to get my legendary status. Honey, you talking about kids? Like, girl, I was not worried about that. And unfortunately, just like my mama said, it was other kids younger than me who grasped to me, who clung on to me. And I think the biggest challenge for me was thinking because I was going to be mother, everybody was just going to listen. Everything was going to be done my way. And we were just going to go on. So we ain't got to have no problems. And it's not like that. You still get into it with your kids. You still have ones with their own personal opinions, and you have to learn how to talk to different people and deal with different personalities. Because I also learned being a mother that you can't handle everyone the same. And that's my biggest thing, because like I said, I wasn't worried about kids, baby. I was focused on me. It was also kind of me, but that also being a mother definitely helped me grow. And, that was my reality and expectation of it. So,
And like hearing y'all have this conversation is so interesting to me, because I often talk about how when you are a mother, like you have to meet people where they're at. And I think sometimes people come into a space feeling like this is who I am and you got to take me as I am. But also I feel like in this space, because it is a competitive space, because the emotions and tensions and stakes are always high, I feel like that communication piece is so essential. Like you have to meet people where you at, but they meet you where you're at too. So like you have to learn how to be adaptable in your communication. To your point, Yoko, you got to learn how to teach everything, because you're a parent and they're relying on you and your teaching. One thing that I really wanted in this space today was to make sure, as we're talking about women in ballroom, that we had a cis woman on the panel and we had a trans woman on the panel. And my next question is, I want to talk about sisterhood. So in ballroom, what does true sisterhood look like across identities in ballroom, and what gets in the way of it? And I have my thoughts on it, but I'll let y'all go first, and then I'll put my little 2 cents. What is sisterhood like in ballroom for y'all? And if you haven't, let's say, necessarily experienced it, full throttle, what do you feel like has been in the way of that?
Okay, I can start this one.
Okay. Yeah, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. We'll switch it up this time.
Because I have a lot of things in my mind when I think of it, so it's kind of. I just want to.
It's like a lot.
Yeah, I think I have to say that because I'm a cis woman, I have to like tread lightly. So I would just want for you as a trans woman, like to kind of like talk about it more, and then I'll kind of like just chime in.
Okay. No, I feel you. So basically with me, sisterhood to me is just like women. And women, not meaning cis women, not meaning trans women, and however you want to separate it. But sisterhood to me really means women coming together and standing up for each other and looking out for each other, because we are now in a world in leadership of a fool. No shade, if we're being completely honest. And I feel like right now, especially where we're at in these times, we need each other more than anything, because not only are the trans women being targeted, but cis Black women are being targeted. We're all being targeted by the same corporations, the same government, the same, United States that we all stay in. We're all being targeted by the same people. And I feel like a lot of the times what gets in the way of that is people's own personal egos and what they feel is womanhood when it comes from like a cis prospect, the cis versus trans argument they always have with the cis women feeling like trans women aren't women. We're always going to be men and this. And then it's just like, baby girl, that's the least of our worries, girl. No matter how you like to look at it, we are women. I just wish we all just actually come together and realize we're women. We're just all different kinds. We have our cis women, we have our trans women, but we're all women. We fall under the same umbrella. And a lot of the times I just feel like it's just a lot of, I'm not even going to say jealousy, because I don't want to, be Cherry the Boom and, do what the people try to say about me, because I understood what my girl was saying. I understood what she was saying, but I felt like even when she said what she said, her point got missed throughout the whole thing. Her point was missed throughout the whole thing. People heard jealousy and they heard women jealous of trans and ran with it, not even realizing the way she broke it down and what exactly she meant. And I feel like once we get over the trying to prove who a woman for real and who not, we will never be able to really truly come together, because that's what we need. Sisterhood, we need each other. Because, baby, we being attacked by the same men, baby. Trump don't want nothing for either one of us. Okay. Like, we all come together. We all, unfortunately, go through the same struggles. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of that is just a lot of people on both sides not wanting to understand one another is what gets in the way for me. Yeah. I feel like that's the way to put it in. Mm-hmm.
So, I think for the most part that I have experience sisterhood in the finest of ways. I feel like the people that I have around me, especially people that is in my house, I feel like I'm super, super close to them. Especially, I have cis women, trans women. I even have non-binary. So just all of that. So I do feel like this is like my community, and I really do appreciate them. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like oftentimes, because I had like a really weird situation when I had a conversation with, I never really spoke about this, but this is kind of like, I guess, tainted, just made me a little more like cognizant that as a cis woman, I can't, or I just felt like I couldn't say certain things because I don't have the experience. I'm not going to go deep into what the conversation was, but I just had an opinion on something, and it was never I would never disrespect a trans woman at all, ever, because I view them as women. I sincerely do. But I guess it was just more so I was just offering advice and just advice to another woman, and they immediately stopped me in my tracks and was like, "Oh no, that's." No, you couldn't possibly understand what I'm experiencing and what I'm going through. And that right there, that creates the divide already. So that right there, I just sometimes it's kind of hard for me to navigate who I should have that relationship with or have that rapport with, because me as a person, if I'm coming into the space as my full self, I would like to be allowed to be my full self and not feel like I have to approach the space very guarded. So in a nutshell, I am very particular about the word sisterhood and who I call sister and who I reference as a sister. So yeah.
And what I'll add to the conversation is I feel like really what both of y'all said is so interesting, because a lot of what was said stems from things just in everyday life. Mm-hmm. And because it happens in everyday life, it creeps into the ballroom thing, and it comes into this space. So I feel like I'll give two perspectives. The outside opinion and perspective is we don't see each other as sisters, right? Y'all are still this, y'all are still that. And then when some trans women get that response, then it goes to, well, y'all don't like us and y'all jealous of this. It's like it's a constant back and forth, and it's never we see each other as human beings having this experience where we have more similarities than we do differences. Is there biological differences? Absolutely. And that's things we can't change, we can't whatever, right? Absolutely. But in the journey of womanhood, when we walk down the street and they don't know my tea, they're probably going to assume that I'm cis. So the way that they treat me is going to be the same way that they would treat a cis woman until they find out. And then maybe some things might change. Who knows? It depends on the person. And I just feel like we have to understand that we have more similar experiences than we do different. That's just what it boils down to, right? And I think in Ballroom, Yoko, you actually kind of hinted towards this. I feel like cis women in Ballroom, they are guests here. Yeah. Because I'm a cis woman. Yeah. But here's my thing, and this is why I challenge people with that perspective is Butch queens are cis. Yeah. They're cis people too. Yeah. They're just Butch queens, right? And then the so we have the gender for both. And then we go into the sexuality. Okay, are you queer? Are you gay, lesbian, bi, pan, all of the things? Trans, that being under that queer umbrella is what makes you also a part of this space. Not a guest, but a part of this space. And I oftentimes talk about too, in the creation of the Kiki scene, there were 4 pioneers. 3 were Butch queens. 1 was a Black cis queer woman, Aisha Diori. So I don't ever want a cis woman to think she's a guest here. No.
She taught me everything I know. So I give all the glory to trans women. Like that would never change. And bitch, don't act like you wasn't getting. Oh, I'm sorry, we could cuss. Oh my God. Can we cuss? No, can we cuss?
Yeah, you can. Oh, no.
I'm not going. But don't act like the titties, the body, you know. Don't act like we didn't get that from the trans girls. Like I hate people be doing all that. I hate it.
I just want us to be able to give each other credit and live in the same space. And no, girl, we can both help each other out with so many things. That's it.
So what it sounds like is we all have blueprinted some aspect of womanhood, whether it's the aesthetic, the behavior, the attire. We have all been pioneering blueprints of trailblazing something within this journey called womanhood. And that's why we have more similar experiences than we do different.
Exactly. And they don't be realizing. I'm like, girl, we got a lot of similar, honey. You don't know, girl.
So on the vein, like on this topic, how do y'all think the scene can evolve to better welcome and affirm like these ideas that we have more similarities than we have differences? Like, what do you think we need to do to make those things shift? Because when I was at the Women in Ballroom convening back in this, June, that was a big conversation about how cis women and trans women in ballroom is just like, there's such a big divide and connect. How do y'all feel like though we may not be able to heal the land in outside of this space, but in this space where we make up the energy and the bodies, how do you feel like we can do better and like bridge that gap between each other?
Well, one thing I will say is that allowing all the girls to walk perfect tens. That's one thing I would like. And perfect tens that's been a battle that I've been having for the longest. And for those of you who don't know, Perfect Tens is I think realness, sex appeal, and face, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So just
And it
allow
can change. You can.
I was gonna say you could switch it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but I know it was a big controversy when Perp walked it, Perp West, Perp Milan, when she walked it, I think at some ball, I can't remember.
Yeah, New York.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they were saying that cis women aren't allowed to walk that category. But I'm in a space where it's like we spend our money, we participate in the scene as much as anybody. So why are we restricted to some now realness? Okay, because that's the whole premise of what it is. But
right.
But like I think some opening up some categories that for cis women would do us some good, because I feel like cis women are definitely limited in the space a little bit.
I would also say, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, Hazel. You go ahead.
Oh, and I was just going to say, and with just adding on to hers, I would say something that we could do is like just kind of what we're doing now, having panels and creating spaces for the women in ballroom, like the cis women, specifically cis and trans women, especially, because that's that bridge that we're trying to get. So I feel like having more panels like this in person, out of like people maybe instead of hosting workshops all the time, actually host things for the girls to come together so we can actually talk about these things and get down and get to know one another. I feel like if everybody started implementing that in each scene, then we can at least bridge the gap between the cis women and trans women in our community.
Yeah, I love both of those things because for me, what I hear you saying, Hazel, is let's come together and have honest, open conversations about, again, why we are more similar than we are different. And I feel like when you have those conversations, people will then open up and understand. And Yoko, what I hear you saying is, baby, I want to advocate for myself to be seen in this space fully and not just, you know, in certain things. And to your point, I remember that happened with legendary Gigi Chanel Balenciaga years ago here in 2017, I want to say it was. She walked, I believe it was Perfect Tens or Trilogy, and it was like, wait, that's a cis woman. How is she walking? And it was kind of like the panel was like, what do we do? But I think what has happened in ballroom is we get so used to what we think or already know that a category is, and we don't start breaking things down or giving certain descriptions to where people know I can or cannot walk. To where people like Gigi and Perp just got out there. It was Perfect Tens. Y'all didn't say it was realness. Y'all said Perfect Tens. If I'm representing categories, then I'm representing whatever categories that I'm perfect in, period. That's it. And I also think it's for ballroom to evolve and do, you know, open it up a little more. Like for me, for example, when I walk face and mainstream, it's always femme queen face. But I'm like, and I tell them all the time, if it don't say big girl's face, I'm not walking it. Well, you can walk with the femme queens. It's not about that. It's about advocating for something to allow the girls to have their lane too, to have their shine too. Because what I know to be true is they're going to always judge a femme queen face differently than a big girl's face. Hands down. However, let the girls have their lanes, let them have their individual paths to be able to make their names and to be able to build and develop. And it is what they're doing. I know a lot of times, like all of this stuff can weigh on people mentally, because what I've also known in the scene is a lot of times the girls, and when I say girls, I mean all of us, cis and trans, a lot of times don't last. It's very rare that you see a girl in ballroom that they have stayed for years and years and years. Sometimes they're in and then they're gone. Sometimes they're in and out. But that consistency, and even in my years of ballroom since coming in from mainstream and even Kiki, it's very rare that the girls stay. And I think a lot of times it played like a mental health or mental wellness thing plays a part of that, because you are in a competitive space, you're investing so much, you're being judged, and we walk beauty categories, right? So we're being judged on our literal beauty. So my question to y'all is what does mental health support look like within ballroom? And are there community-driven strategies for care and or harm reduction. Like, have y'all seen anything?
Wow.
Well,
And
I would say
start it off if y'all need me to.
Oh yeah, okay. You can start this one off. Yeah.
So for me,
Okay.
when I was coming up, there really wasn't a lot of spaces. Ballroom was, you come, you walk, and you go home, or you know, da da da. But I feel like nowadays, especially within the Kiki scene, it's a younger population of people, and like you have to really care about the whole person and not just their talent, right? And so in my time here, I know that my space in this, I know that my purpose in this space over the years has been about creating spaces for community. And so I've done trans table talk where I was able to talk to trans people and like let them tell their stories and show people how even just as trans people, we're not a monolith. We all have different lived experiences. I created a space called The Herd, and it was like a support group amongst ballroom individuals. I mean, if you were not in ballroom, you can listen, you can still come into the space, but it was for Black and brown LGBTQ plus people to come together and discuss what it was we're dealing with on a basis, so you can be around community and talk about what we need to talk about. And so I know for me, those are some things that I've contributed. Nowadays, you don't see as much, but have y'all seen anything? And I know, Hazel, you're obviously in California. Yeah. Yoko, you're here in Atlanta, but
I was going to say for me, especially over here, I will say the West Coast Ballroom, when it comes to Kiki and mainstream, have gotten better with providing spaces for the youth, especially, for everybody, honestly, but especially for the youth now. Because, we have like kids over here. We got babies like Allie and Sosa and Tyler, who's all, under 18. We helping them make sure they can get into the clubs and stuff and make sure they're good, So now I feel like each, what do you call them? Like each organization, they all offer spaces where these kids, even if they don't have nothing or need spaces to come talk to one another, they offer free like mental health care. Like they can come and talk to somebody. They always know at different organizations, and we have like 5 or 6 of them running throughout Ballroom that heavily help. So that's like 5 or 6 organizations. They know they can always, that somebody's going to be there they can go to whenever they need something, whether it's like clothes, some food, a place to sleep, somebody to talk to, prep, anything to keep them, even if they do sex work and stuff, like they have a space here. And I feel like, especially being on the West Coast, I have seen a lot of them trying to make sure that they also bridge that gap, because that was a big conversation when I first came into Ballroom, was the mental health. And over the years, they have just been trying to, provide different programs and things for the girls to make sure they're okay. Yeah. And even like within our house, we offer, like as parents of Balmain and in Louboutin, all of our kids know we gonna check on them. Everybody gonna get a check throughout the month, making sure everybody okay, just to check in, because you never know.
Yeah. I agree. We're in Atlanta, so we definitely have tons of organizations that actually like set up at balls and kind of just like, I remember I went to a ball and they were doing like testing outside. So we even have organizations that actually like throw balls and provide spaces for the kids to actually attend, just so they can have a safe space. And then, not to gas my mother up, Toni, but Toni is, I would say she is one of the heaviest influence within the community. And I know she wasn't gonna do it, so let me go ahead and do it.
Because if it wasn't for who?
If it was for Toni, she has always provided spaces, whether it's in the grand scheme of where she's like giving large amounts of money, or just providing a space for the kids to actually just divulge. Sometimes it's not even like, sometimes it doesn't have to be like this competitive thing, and which is the greatest thing that I felt like she introduced to the community, because we get so wrapped up into like the competition of it all that we forget that we are a community. Like we're supposed to be able to get to know one another. So Toni is definitely one of the great people that actually provide spaces for kids to just vote.
Be them.
Jeannie Lamb. Shout out to Jeannie Lamb. Kiki House. And honestly, both of y'all hit on something for me too, even in addition to the resources, in addition to the programs and events that we throw to because I often feel like ballroom isn't necessarily a safe space. And I feel like it's more so a brave space because you have to be brave to be here and do what we do. But I do believe in safe people in the space.
Yes.
And so even if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the organizations or the programs, can you be a resource? Can you be a safe space, safe person for people to come to and you know, pour out whatever it is that they're going through, to where you can then, you know, pour into them and give them resources and give them some motivation or whatever it is that they need in that moment. What does, which to me, this is a great question. What does healing-centered, inclusive future of ballroom look like to you? And I'll go first on this one because I know it's probably a lot to think about. One of the things when I read that question, the first thing that pops up in my brain is allowing GNC people to be present in the space.
I was just going to say.
So much bickering and arguing about ballroom is traditional this, traditional that. Just let, wherever we see GNC people, wherever there's a space and a lane, why can't
allow them?
Why can't we? And I know even in the South, people don't know this. But GNC categories, it was something that was brought. I didn't create GNC categories, but I brought it to our Kiki scene in 2021. And we did them at the battle zones. And then we moved outside of the battle zones to where people were coming into the scene. They were presenting as GNC. And then there was a group of people, India Hodge being one of the main ones, that would go out and advocate in mainstream. And so now, years later, now you're starting to see GNC face. Now you're starting to see GNC fashion and runway and all of these things, because somebody was able to listen and say, listen, y'all, like, it's ballroom. This is for all of us. This is what it looks like. And then when you don't think so deeply into it and you're just like, okay, let's create a space. Why is it so hard to create space and lanes for people to exist and feel welcome? That I don't understand. So off my little soapbox, that's what I think of when I think of a healing-centered, inclusive future of ballroom, is creating spaces for people that you don't think, well, some people don't think there is space for. No, we can create space.
Yes, I definitely agree, because I just was going to bring up the GNC community ourselves, because we also have that same argument over here. Trust, I feel like that argument is just in ballroom everywhere. Yeah. That, you know, they feel like, oh yeah, y'all making categories here for us, but y'all don't really want us here. And I just want ballroom to be able to know that just how we allow certain categories and certain things to elevate, I want them to be that way across the board when it comes to everybody. You know, it's 2025. A lot of the laws and a lot of the things that wasn't allowed back then, and a lot of the things that weren't normal and people couldn't do, like, unfortunately today in 2025, you know, people is, you know, the world is a little freer. I mean, yeah, it's crazy, but everything is a little freer than it was back in the day. And I just want ballroom to be able to be more inclusive 100% as we go on with the years. Like, we don't have to forget tradition, because even I don't want to forget the original traditions of our room and, you know, the reasons why and things. Like, I don't even want that to go away, but not saying like just completely throw it away, but just allow that space and just allow that door to open for, you know, another person to come on in. Because like you said, we have people of different, you know, sexualities and things going on, girl. We got to start updating our life to the years that is, you know, we can't stay in the past. So I feel like once ballroom start doing that, then that's when it'll really be like a healing, inclusive space. Like, they just have to really be down for that.
Yeah, and times are really changing. Like, when I look at tips, I saw a little girl walking runway. I was like, this is amazing. Like, so many people are coming to ballroom. Like, so many people are finding it, and I just want us to not forget why it was created. Like, don't be afraid to evolve. Like, everybody, the old heads, no shade, no shade. No shade, but
not our mother Toni, though.
Yeah,
I'm just seasoned.
The older generation, I just feel like they love to throw out, tradition. But y'all was recording this. Y'all had to go look at this on the VCR, like with a
like times are different, bro.
Like times are evolving. Things are changing. People like eyes are on you. So instead of them trying to actually like move with the time, it's like they trying to gatekeep. And I just never understood that. Even it doesn't matter when it comes down to cis women or GNC, whatever the case may be. It's time for us to get out of that gatekeeping mindset. Don't be afraid to evolve.
So ladies, we are going to wrap this up, and I want to thank you both for being here and being panelists tonight. My final question, it's a two-parter, but my final question to you is, what is your advice to newcomers into ballroom and new leaders coming into their leadership position? That's the first part. And how can people find you? If you want to give out your socials or just your contact, how can people find you? Because what we know about this space too is ballroom will book you and allow you to travel around the world to teach and do all of the things. So that's my two-parter to wrap it on up.
Okay. The first question was, I'm so sorry. What was it again?
What is your advice to people new people entering ballroom and people newly entering their leadership roles?
Right. Okay. So one thing I will say about new people entering ballroom is don't come into the space ignorant. Come into the space fully aware of what it is you want to do. Like, what's your purpose for even being in the space? Because if you come into it, it's really easy to fall into a lot of unnecessary and
rigmarole.
Yes. So please make sure that you understand what's the reasoning for you coming into the space. And leadership, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because I've made so many mistakes in my leadership role. And as I make the mistakes, I'm smart enough to like adjust and be like, this is not how I should do it. And then I got a great mentor, someone who's guiding me into it. So find someone that you can really trust and someone that can really mentor you into the space or into your leadership role. So someone that you can really trust. And you can find me at Yoko Vango, YOKO VANGOGH. You can find me on Instagram. All right.
Thank you, my mother.
No shade, honey. The face girl.
Thank you.
I was going to say for me, for the kids first, the girls coming in, or even if you're no older and you're coming in last minute, because it's for everybody. Whoever coming in, just like she said, don't be ignorant, and also know that you are coming into a space that has been. Y'all are coming into a space that has been here before we knew what this stuff was. Stop coming in here with these egos and these things, thinking that everything is supposed to be, I see Tamaya and them legend. I'm supposed to go in there. Everybody's supposed to love me. Unfortunately, things like that don't work that well. I'm not going to say it don't work at all, but it don't work that well. And it's not that easy to just have a fab life when you come into ballroom. Always come into ballroom, be fab. Aim to be a fab girl. Always aim high. But don't be ignorant and don't lose the plot and don't lose the reasoning that you're here. And just remember that you are in a space that people created for other people around for you to be able to come here. So just keep that in mind. Be open to new ideas and people. Y'all stop being so, this is how I am and stuff. Well, unfortunately, you came and chose ballroom. You gotta switch some things up. I'm sorry. And to the leaders, like she said, piggybacking off, don't be afraid to make mistakes. And also don't be so stuck in your ways, even with being a leader. And I feel like they still fall off with, don't be afraid of making mistakes, because we all learn being a leader. You're not going to just go into father, mother, or whatever the position going to be, and you're just going to ace it. It's just going to be, oh yeah, girl, I got it. Yeah. No, you're going to go through some stuff, because unfortunately people make it hard. And by people, meaning your members, your kids and stuff, you're going to go through some stuff. Yeah. You're a leader. You in the position where people are looking to you for all things ballroom. So always just be patient with yourself, give yourself grace, and also do the same to those around y'all. Mm-hmm. And y'all can find me on Facebook at Hazel Louboutin Balmain and on Instagram at Chanel, like the bag, _ Lewinsky. No shade. I'm always on Insta.
Yes. Thank you, West Coast mother.
Of course. Thank y'all for having me. I love y'all so much.
No, I want to say thank you both, honestly, truly, for being here and representing the women of Ballroom, representing the Kiki scene of part of Ballroom, and just giving your lived experiences. Like I said, like we've all said in the beginning, we have more similarities than we do differences, and it's best to embrace them versus us always trying to find what makes us different. So, and I think that the more we understand it, the more we come together and just have fun and do our big ones. So I want to thank again Melanated Movement and Age United for hosting or for platforming us on this panel today, the Women of Kiki Ballroom. And we'll see you at the next one.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Thank you for everything.
Of course. I will see y'all soon, boo.
Did we just log out?
I mean, you can't. They just have to stop the live. This all will be cut out anyway.
Oh, okay.